Welcome back to Sustainable Living with Shilpa Reddy, powered by Planet Green's Farm Natura, a new beginning to your life. Today, on yet another episode of Dates County Nature's Tycoon, I have with me an entrepreneur who has built a venture out of waste recycling. She truly believes that just with a little bit of effort, we can convert waste into wealth and create market value. With the upcycling activity, this brand also creates livelihood for tribal women. Let's welcome the founder of ReCharkha, Amita, on my show. Hi, Amita. I've been wanting to bring you on board from last year because I discovered your brand 4 years back. You won't believe this story. I was at Serendipity Art Festival in Goa, and there was this store, and I was picking up some cool stuff, all eco-friendly, very innovative, design-centric, and I found your brand. And I was blown away when the lady at the store started explaining me as to how that was made. So I discovered your brand, and just imagine, like 4 years later, a brand I started is featuring your brand. It's just like it's a whole, like a circle. Like it's all come back, and now you're on my show. So I'm super excited to understand about the brand, how it all started, and how it got ideated. So warm welcome to my show.
Thank you so much for inviting me here. It's really been a pleasure. We have been associated with your brand for almost a year now with the
Yes.
products, but I think this is a great opportunity to meet you and know more about your organization.
Thank you. How did it all begin? Like I know you're an IT profession, and from that to becoming an entrepreneur for an eco-friendly and innovative brand like ReCharkha. So how did it begin?
So I think it began way back when I was in school,
Really?
somewhere in during that period. So I come from a business family.
Okay.
So this kida of business was always in my mind. But somewhere in when I was in 8th, 9th standard, this whole problem of plastic pollution had started growing a lot, and everybody was just wanting a carry bag for whatever little pencil that they were buying from the market. And I used to be like, we are learning it in our textbooks that this plastic is not degradable, and we're still using it.
Right.
So I had, started changing myself since then itself. And there was a competition so I grew up in a union territory called Dadra Nagar Haveli, which is on the border of Gujarat and Maharashtra.
Okay.
So that's where I grew up, and I took part in a competition, took the specific topic of solid waste management, where nobody was even talking about it. Everybody
No one
was
probably
talking.
knew what it was.
Nobody
then.
knew. And we didn't even have internet to go and research anything about it. So I actually went and interviewed all the government officials and lots of people.
Wow.
And came up with a nice presentation, and I got a consolation prize and all of that. But that was where actually it sunk inside me that this is something that I want to take up.
Okay.
At least as as my own lifestyle.
Right.
So obviously since then I've been bugging my parents and family and friends
Not to use plastic.
not to use plastic and not to use thermocol plates and disposables, etc., etc.
Wow.
But as I grew up, I didn't know that this could be a career, and just coming from a normal middle class family, the obvious options that you have is jo market mein jiska scope hai career ka, so you just go and do that.
Right.
And engineering, IT was like booming when I just finished my 12th grade.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'll go for IT because this is something that I continued to do. I went for treks, and I went for my volunteering activities where I always did the cleanup drives on my own. But I never thought that this could be a career of what I would end up doing. So that's when I went to the IT sector, studied IT, started working in the IT sector for a few years, 3-4 years. Then I was like, okay, this is enough. I really want to move out now. So I took up a master's program. I went to the US. I did my master's in business, but with a focus on sustainable development. Because at that time, this whole CSR bit was coming up, and a lot of companies wanted to know what sustainability is all about. And I wanted to, be and live that movement.
Wow.
So that's where I studied, worked for a few years in the US for some brands
Right.
for their sustainability reports.
Okay.
And then I was like, I want to go back to India and start something on my own, work something with my people
Wow.
for my country.
So it's always been there. But how did the idea strike? When was the point when we thought, let's weave plastic,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
through weavers? I thought it was path-breaking when I heard it for the first time. So when was the point when it just came to you?
So to confess, it wasn't my invention at all,
Okay.
but it was something that we had seen being done in a little village in Gujarat, where I
Okay.
was just traveling, that these women were weaving plastic. And we just thought that why not take it to the next level? And the problem of that organization was market. So I started from the first step itself, that let's first develop the market.
Okay.
And as in how the market developed, the background started developing, and I
Okay.
introduced the craft in a village from where I belong. So the tribal community in Dadra Nagar Haveli was the one, who started working with me, developed this craft further, and now here we are. So it was a very interesting
Start.
start.
Yeah. So do you have a design team?
We have a design team, so we never had a design team since the beginning.
Of course.
Yeah.
You add, as and when you grow.
Right. So we always used to hire design interns.
Okay.
And yeah, so one intern who had joined us 4 years ago, she has now joined us full time about more than a year and a half ago.
nice.
So she's our head of the design team. And again, under her, there are interns who come and go.
Okay. So you're in an eco-friendly business, an eco-friendly entrepreneur, or rather sustainable entrepreneur. How hard is it to find a footing in this space?
From both the ends, it is difficult, right?
Okay.
To start it as a production facility, because that's where you have a lot of challenges
Right.
at various level. And on the other hand, a market, because this is something that the market has to be created.
Right.
Never ever had people imagined like
Right.
you, right? That something
Absolutely.
like this could be made. So you have to make them understand, show them the process of how it's being made. So that was the whole background of how the market had to be created.
Right.
So that's when it occurred to me that why don't we just show them the video instead of explaining them verbally and just putting a bag in front of them.
Right.
Let's just show them the process. And that's how the whole process of making a video at the stall or online happened, and the marketing bit emerged from there. In the production, there were a lot of other challenges, right? From availability of waste. You would imagine that there is so much of plastic waste that everybody says that only to us, ये तो free में मिल जाता होगा, but no, it is such a big challenge to get the waste.
That propels me to ask you the process. I know the process, I've seen the video, but it's damn interesting. From the time people collect the plastic that you require till the end product. Can you tell us the entire process?
Sure. It starts from everybody's homes.
Okay. Okay.
So when somebody uses plastics, I'm going to show some wrappers to you. So this is what is some of our raw material.
Okay.
Yeah. So these plastic
So
bags.
all kinds of plastic.
Yeah. Films. Soft
Films.
plastic.
Okay. Okay.
So
Soft
these
plastic.
are multi-layered wrappers.
Correct.
Or the packets of bread and
Bread.
Again, this is a single layer plastic. This is a multi-layered plastic. Then the plastic bags,
Right.
which have been my enemy since forever. Then these gift wrappers, which people think is paper, but it is plastic.
Right.
So this is what is first collected.
So you have a team who goes and collects, or you have.
So we used to first work with waste pickers who are already working on collecting plastic waste, but they're not getting a good rate for that.
Right.
So we started working with them originally, and then eventually we realized that they only are not getting segregated waste. So we started this whole awareness campaign with the household so that segregation starts at the household level. So now the segregated waste comes to waste pickers. It comes to us. Secondly, a lot of conscious customers send their waste to us.
Okay, they
And
collect it and send it
they
across.
send
that's
it by
wonderful.
courier,
Oh, wow.
on their own expense, because we had already always decided that we'll not go and collect it, because otherwise we are incentivizing them or motivating them to create more waste.
Correct.
So that's
Oh,
where all the waste comes from.
that's
That's
brilliant.
the first step.
Okay.
Secondly, we all of that waste is taken to our village. So we have 2 villages. We purposely selected villages, not in the city, where our process happens, because we believe in rural livelihoods. So one of it is, like I told you, in Dadra Nagar Haveli.
Right.
The other one is in another village about 60 to 70 kilometers from Pune,
Okay.
where it is taken. It's washed and sanitized, again using eco-friendly detergents.
Wow.
And so we have to think
No,
through
of course,
everything.
every step needs to be thought of.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it is manually cut in a certain way, so
Okay.
that we get longish, plan from
Okay.
it. And then the fun begins, because we use a charkha.
Right.
So that's where people really get intrigued, that how are you using the charkha and the handloom. But that's what we roll it in such a way on the charkha that it can be then woven on the handloom, and a beautiful fabric can be created from it.
Wow.
So that's the whole process. And in this entire process, only 3 machines are being used. One is the charkha, the handloom, and our scissors.
Oh.
We forget scissors is a machine.
Right.
So that's it. There's no electricity, no heat, no chemicals used in
Wow.
the process of making fabric.
This is like
this is
ticking
how the
off
fabric
all the sustainable parameters of
Exactly.
being a sustainable brand.
So a bag
Fantastic.
like this, if you see, has been made with all the wrappers that I was showing, and the color combinations come with different
Okay.
patterns of
Okay.
the wrappers that
I
we
know,
use.
because I remember I wanted another pink bag. They said, we don't get that way.
It's not
We have a pink or a yellow or a blue or a mixed color, so you can choose. Then I felt so bad for asking, for a choice, because your brand is not that. And every piece is unique.
Every piece is unique.
Yes.
And it takes about 40 to 50 wrappers to make one bag.
Okay.
Yeah, so with that, the pattern and the design, so it's just fun.
Okay,
That's
great.
lovely process. And then it is stitched to various products that we make.
Okay. So how do you want to scale up your brand?
From both the levels again,
Okay.
right? But first we want to start, getting a better market for it.
Okay.
Right now we have a good market. We have a very good bunch of loyal customers.
Right.
But to replicate them, to make them grow by word of mouth, we want to reach other countries, other locations.
Oh, wow. Right.
Yeah.
So do you think a brand like this have scope for funding?
Of course it does, but there are caveats, because if we are a sustainable brand, if we're taking all these steps, like I'm explaining you, obviously there are lots of costs involved in it.
Correct.
So automatically our margins go down.
Okay.
Because we can sell the product only for a certain price. We
Okay.
can't sell it extremely expensive.
Right.
So if the investor is okay with that kind of a margin, that kind of a return, then
Okay.
we are
So, but you
happy.
have plans to go international.
We have, yeah.
Wonderful.
So we have recently opened up a branch in Netherlands to
Oh,
cater
wow.
to the European and American market.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
That's fabulous.
And then obviously the production can scale up.
Right.
And that is again through replication. So obviously we don't want to focus only on one village and build up a factory there. So it's a small workshop in Dadra Nagar Haveli, the other one is in Bhor. So we want to set up small units which will cater to this large global market.
Okay. So, how does your brand add value or empower weavers or artisans or women? Like on that level, how is it empowering?
We hire mainly women as much as possible, and again from villages.
Okay.
So in the city,
Rural,
in rural
development
yeah,
and
rural
upliftment.
development, rural upliftment, because more than 60-70% of our population used to live in the villages, and the decentralized development that was to happen, it somewhere didn't happen, and that's why the cities have started becoming centers of slums and all kinds
Right.
of, so we are trying to see if people who are happy in their villages, why not give them another source of employment, because
It's fabulous.
agriculture is not enough for their sustenance.
Right.
and especially women, because women are, always so enthusiastic. So
Right.
when we went to the village for the first time, the one in Dadra Nagar Haveli, obviously there were some young boys also who came and wanted to work with us, but primarily it was women that we want to work.
Wow. So, what are the sustainable practices that you have at your workplace and at your, on a personal level, what all do you follow?
Everything, I would say.
Oh my God, everything.
As much as possible, as much as possible.
Okay, wonderful.
So apart from that, I'm still living in a city in a high-rise building.
Okay.
That's something I haven't been able to change yet.
Okay.
But right from the kind of food I try to procure,
Okay.
much ever possible organic, package free, obviously segregating all the kinds of waste that I have at home. I compost.
Wow.
The waste picker is very happy with the fact that my dustbin goes out only once in a fortnight.
Wow.
And with segregated waste, so she doesn't have to do much with the dustbin.
No, that's fabulous. So that makes me want to ask you a question. Can a person who's not conscious ever get into a sustainable business space?
It is
Just for looking at the monetary terms, because sustainability has become the word to do more business, or sometimes greenwashing is happening.
Very true.
But will it be ethical, or will it even be right for a person who himself or herself doesn't understand sustainability or follow it in their day-to-day life? Can he become a true eco-friendly entrepreneur?
So even if he or she is not originally living a sustainable lifestyle or is not eco-friendly originally, but after the business is started, if he or she can make the necessary changes, learn from people who are living that kind of a lifestyle and bring it into the business, that then they can transform. Maybe the business will transform the person.
So they see the cause and effect
Yes.
and the impact, and probably it could probably work the other way around.
Right.
Oh, that's a brilliant answer.
And so this was very funny, because whenever I used to first originally live this sustainable lifestyle myself, and then after my post-graduation in the US, I started working with these big brands or large Fortune 500 companies, and what kind of sustainability practices have they started adopting,
Okay.
and they want to obviously report all of that. I had started understanding this fact that me at my level or at a family's level can bring about that change. But a corporate, if they bring about that change, it's such a huge difference.
Right. The
So
numbers are huge.
Exactly.
The impact is big.
Exactly. So that's where, even if they are not originally sustainable, if they start implementing the practices, it will drill down and the impact will be huge.
Okay. So, what would you say to young entrepreneurs who are wanting to start a brand or a business? What is the scope of success, or what is the scope of progress in this segment of business, eco-friendly or sustainable space? Do you think there is future?
There is. Definitely there is future.
Did you see the change in the last 4 to 5 years from the time you started?
Yes.
Please.
So I started 7 years ago with this whole
7 years, is it?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. I myself knew the brand from 4.
Yeah, because the first 2-3 years went by mostly in R&D.
Oh,
Yeah, so
yes.
we couldn't bring the product as much as
Okay.
as nicely as it should have been in the
Okay.
market. So there has been change. Of course, there has been lots of change, because when I started, there was a lot of resistance from the family, from everywhere, and nobody even knew what social enterprise is.
Right.
And from then to now, I've seen so many enterprises building up, so many funders coming ahead and giving grants and investments in sustainable businesses.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of scope, and the consumers have changed.
Yes.
So originally we had to take so much of effort to convince a customer to understand that, hey, this is an upcycled bag, it takes so much time to make, that is why it is priced so and so. All that information we had to give them. But now I think people have started understanding, oh, it's we are doing it for a cause and we want to buy it.
and all the sustainable development goals, and I think a lot
Right.
of policies.
Of course, policies, the
on
government is supporting it, the
Absolutely.
global government is supporting it.
Right.
And I feel every entrepreneur, every business should be a social business.
That's right.
That
Oh,
is
so
how it
that
would be.
makes me want to ask you another question. We're talking about social responsibility, yes, but we're also talking about inclusive economy. So, is this what you were trying to say? It's not about yourself anymore, your profit anymore, but along with you growing, your company growing,
Yes.
it has become important for everybody around you to grow as teams, as
Right.
communities.
Right.
So, do you see that happening in the future?
Totally, totally. I think like we are now collaborating, so
Correct.
we are coming together and bringing up a different direction or different collaborations. So similarly, at the grassroots also, we have now 45 people working with us
Okay.
on a full-time basis. So starting from obviously one to now 45. So
That's
there's just
beautiful.
a lot of growth. And at the rural level also, we are trying to make connections. If there are some craftsmen, so for example, our new facility in the village near Pune is totally made of bamboo. And we hired local artisans
To build the
to
structure?
make it. So we bought a local bamboo which is grown there. We got local artisans. So we are trying to motivate them to take up bamboo construction. Because obviously construction means cement concrete. Nobody thinks
Right.
about anything else, but this is bamboo construction.
And in a tropical country like ours, I think that is more, like adaptive for our temperatures and
Exactly.
cooling off, not concrete to cement and
Yes.
iron and metal and glass.
True, true. So this is, as you rightly termed it, it is an inclusive economy where we are trying to bring up everything from the grassroots and from the top level also from the governance perspective, and trying to create like a nice platform.
Wonderful. So a brand like yours, how long does it take to financially become sustainable?
That's a very difficult question.
Okay.
But I think it easily takes 2 to 3 years
Okay.
from where you start. And even now, I would say we are still, not, we obviously are breaking even, but we are still not a very, very extremely profitable
So,
organization.
what drives you? I somehow feel that there's a big emotion behind the brand.
Yes.
Is that what drives you, or because, as you're speaking, most of the entrepreneurs want results too quickly? That's not the case. That shouldn't be the case. But then, how did it happen to you? Like, meaning, what drove you to kind of wait and have that resilience and have that persistence and, like perseverance?
Yeah, that is what is needed, especially among social entrepreneurs. Every entrepreneur needs that,
Right.
but among social entrepreneurs, it is needed. And I think passion drives it all, because at the end of the day, if you can sleep well, I think that little extra money doesn't matter so much.
Right.
And it's not just that, it's also the whole team put together, especially the staff, as in my immediate team, my core team, who are looking after the sales and marketing and operations and accounts and everything. It is their energy also that drives Shilpa, because
Right.
they are also very passionate and they have also changed their careers. Just
Right.
like I have, a lot of them are coming from different careers and who have joined us. So every morning when we go to the office and we see everybody's smiling faces, I think each and everybody infects each other.
So I think we all as human beings are seeking for that gratification, and more than the goal, I think if you enjoy the process of getting there, is so fulfilling that, as you rightly said, that extra money will come maybe 3 years down the road, not right away, but even I tell people to enjoy the whole process.
Yes.
Are you going home and sleeping feeling grateful, and do you feel the gratification in the work that you do?
Right.
I think your brand is a true epitome of that.
Thank you. That really means a lot to us.
Yeah, and I see the ring on you. You're an Isha
Yes.
meditator as well.
So the process and goal, what you just mentioned, is exactly what I think we are following.
Right, we
You
resonate
and
with
I.
that.
Exactly.
So the brand has two founders, you and Mr. Abhishek. Is that your husband?
Yes, that's my
Okay.
husband.
So how do you divide your responsibilities, or what do you address and what does he address?
So Abhishek joined us about a year and a half ago.
Oh, just
Yeah,
recently.
yeah.
Okay.
So he's also an Isha meditator, by the way.
Oh, wonderful to
So
know.
he, after the pandemic, actually, he transitioned more into this kind of a lifestyle himself,
Okay.
and he really thought that him joining ReCharkha. Of course, I needed a partner as well.
Right.
So he joined us,
Okay.
and so from the start of ReCharkha, whatever has been developed, now he takes care of it.
Oh, wonderful. You
Yeah,
have a helping
and now
hand.
he takes care of our accounts and operations,
Okay.
finance, that
Okay.
angle, and product development. So that bit he handles.
Okay.
I still take care of the business development along with our team, obviously. Business development and marketing I take care of, and various avenues to grow, because we are thinking of diversifying a little bit into vertically integrating, I would say, more than diversifying ourselves.
Okay.
To create some more impact.
Wow. So yours definitely is an impact business. So apart, if I have to send you something like my waste, what all do you take?
Yes, I'll show you the examples
Okay.
of what I have. So obviously all of this.
Yeah, we've seen those.
So this is all banned.
Thankfully.
Thankfully it's banned, but let's follow the ban, because most of the times the ban doesn't get followed. Then these kind of wrappers.
Yeah, that we
Okay.
saw.
Yeah. Another thing, one more thing that I have shown already is this,
Yeah,
the
we
gift wrapper.
saw that. Yes.
Yeah. One other thing which is very interesting, which we upcycle, is this.
Oh,
Do
the
you
old
remember?
video and cassette
Yeah.
tapes.
So we grew up with this, and now this is just lying in the waste or in some attic corner of somebody's house.
Okay.
So we upcycle the tapes
Okay.
of the audio and video cassettes. So if
That's
anybody
so
has
interesting.
these, you can always send this to us,
Wonderful.
because we can upcycle all of this.
Wow. So what are the products you have? Bags and what else?
We have bags, a lot of home decor products.
Okay.
So like planters.
Okay.
We also have a nice vertical planter nowadays, which we've been promoting. We have organizers, table mats and runners,
Oh,
and
okay.
different kinds of bags for laptops, office, for kids, for different kinds of sections of the society.
So do you have gifting?
We do have corporate gifting and wedding gifts.
Wonderful.
So people approach us for gifting purposes as well.
Okay.
And we can customize gifts for people as per their requirements, as per their budget, as per their audience whom they're gifting to.
Okay.
We can customize it for them.
So Amita, what is the best compliment or review that you got from your clients or customers?
I think just a few minutes ago you mentioned that we are a epitome of sustainability,
Right.
and we're a brand which is an epitome of sustainability. I think that's the best compliment
Oh,
I've
thank
really
you.
got. And you are our customer.
Of course. You won't believe, every time there's a Mother's Day, Women's Day, or so many other days, my birthday, I'm only getting your bags as presents.
That's so nice.
So I have a pink, I have a gold, I have a blue and yellow planter. I'm eyeing your the diary holder. I think that's something that I do not have, that I'll probably get soon.
Sure, sure.
But I do have a collection of your products, and they're just amazing. And anything that you want to add for young entrepreneurs who want to come into sustainable space?
Yes, totally, definitely. So the first and foremost thing, I think every entrepreneur can be a sustainable entrepreneur. So
Yes.
no
Wow,
matter,
that's great.
no matter what you're starting off with, even if it's in a food business or textile or whatever it is, let's start sourcing, packaging, everything sustainable.
Okay.
So this is a message for all entrepreneurs, not just
Wonderful.
social entrepreneurs. Now, for coming to the next.
So basically, with that point, you're saying, don't call yourself a sustainable entrepreneur or an entrepreneur. Everybody can be a sustainable entrepreneur.
Exactly. Everybody
That's so
has
fabulous.
to be.
Has to be
With
now.
what is going on right now in the world and
Absolutely.
the kind of goals that we are all trying to achieve to for the climate action.
Right.
I think all of us have to be sustainable entrepreneurs,
Okay.
no matter what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Even if you're a farmer or an industrialist, I think the steps are necessary.
Yeah. And anything else?
And the second part is be persistent, follow your passion. I think it sometimes takes longer than you had expected.
Right.
So you have to be passionate, you have to be persistent, patient. And I think we all are there to support upcoming entrepreneurs. So if they want to come and brainstorm and talk about it to us, I think we are all open for it.
So Amita, what else are you doing with the brand?
I am now trying to focus my attention into something very, very interesting.
Okay.
So like we've always talked about upcycling and craft and making products from waste.
Right.
But what about the waste itself?
Okay.
Right. So I believe in a very, the 5 hour.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
The
5 hours.
Yeah.
So refuse, reduce, reuse. And I believe in the first 3 hours more than repurpose and recycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we are talking about the first 3 hours, there's a lot of grassroots level work that is needed.
Okay.
Because you see waste everywhere.
That's right.
It is getting collected from households in certain ways. It is not segregated properly, and it's being taken and dumped somewhere.
Right.
Nobody knows where it goes. In most places, you see where it goes on the roadsides and riversides. We see all of that. Especially in India, we see it very clearly.
Right.
But other countries, it is put under the carpet.
That's
so
right.
what we have started doing, very interesting opportunity that we got was with the Forest Department of Maharashtra.
Okay.
And we
Wow,
started.
this sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we started on a very small scale at the Mumbai's Sanjay Gandhi National Park.
Okay.
We had tied up with another foundation who works there for collecting plastic waste, and we upcycled the waste that they collected and made some products out of it. But now we are working with the Tadoba National Park,
Okay.
which is near Chandrapur.
Of course, I know.
And
Tadoba.
and it's a very popular park. Lots of tourists come there.
Right.
And even the villagers that's the only livelihood they have, which is tourism. But the waste is not managed at all.
Okay.
And being a national park, the waste is still being burnt, it is still being dumped here and there. Of course, not in the national park area, not in the core area,
right.
but all the buffer villages. And there are some 80 to 90 buffer villages around the national park.
Okay.
So we are trying to work with the forest department and the panchayats and the panchayat samitis to conduct proper waste management of the villages.
Okay.
Wherever possible, use the refuse and reduce ideology.
Right.
But after that, help them segregate the waste into 3 different buckets. So that every household understands what is organic waste, what is recyclable, and what is hazardous waste.
Right.
At least those 3 things that they are given. So we are working with some, the Forest Department Foundation is funding a part of this activity.
Okay.
And once the waste is collected, it will be segregated further into recyclable items and sold to recyclers. And eventually it could come to us for upcycling as well.
Wow.
So it's a grassroots level campaign, and we are trying to do this on more areas, not just one, but we are starting with Tadoba because we got a very good support there.
Okay.
The resorts have come up front. They are supporting this initiative. So it's not just the villagers, but the businesses.
Right.
Like what we were talking about.
Right.
Impact is larger when it is the businesses who come into the picture.
This is very exciting. I can see this happen. Like if you have companies like that of yours, just imagine like every company taking up a couple of villages. We can probably make this, on a large scale.
Right. So that's our aim. Let's see.
Wow.
That's what my focus is right now.
I'm sure
Of course, apart from my baby.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on my show and sharing the great work that you're doing with your brand. I wish you all the best, and I hope to see this brand become an international brand at the soonest.
Thank you. We're going to be doing it together, right?
Yes, of course. I'm always there to support your brand. And thank you once again, Amita.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity
Pleasure
to
is
come and
ours.
speak.
Hope you guys enjoyed watching this episode. Stay tuned for more such inspiring stories. See you all next week. Signing off, Shilpa Reddy.